The price of Bitcoin is continuing to range and is ready for a possible breakout or a breakdown. I'm going to be explaining here on the local time frame why there is a high probability that we take out the highs at least one more time before maybe getting a correction. The question is, will the breakout be very explosive and we're going above $100,000, or will we get rejected from all of the amount of resistance that we have? The point of control between 2024 and 2025 range right over here, which is also in confluence with the golden pocket from all-time high to the pivot low of April. And we also have a daily and a weekly level in between $96,000 and $98,000. Can we manage to break this massive wall of resistance, or will this be the moment where the price gets exhausted on the breakout and we actually start pulling down very aggressively in the next coming days after that attempt? Well, we need to go through the local time frames, of course, what nobody likes to do. Look at the local time frame and explain why there's still a high probability in taking out the local highs here. So let's zoom in on the 15-minute time frame and explain a little bit of the situation here. As we know, we are trying to map and develop, all right, the projection of the wave that we had in the last few weeks, right? So this is an entire wave, this is a sideways wave, and then we have this wave right over here. Is it possible that we are still inside of a wave 4 and we should be creating another wave here, 5 to the upside? Now, when we do analyze the initial stages of this wave from the 20th of April, we do have this movement to the upside, this consolidation correction on your wave 2, and then your wave 3. Now, the question is this your wave 5? Right over here, this has been your 4th wave, this has been your 5th wave. Well, there is a problem with this. This moved up in a 3-wave structure, and we want to see the end of an impulse forming 5 waves. So if this has to be your 5th wave, there is a problem. We moved in a 3-wave move, making all of this still part of a potential correction. Now, there is a possibility that we are forming a triangle. We do have the pivot high right over here and the pivot low, this pivot low right there, and this pivot high. Very long triangle if you ask me. However, it is still very much a possibility for this to be inside of a wave 4. When we do take a look at the timing from the start of the impulse of this potential wave 3, we can clearly see that this wave 4 correction, right, if we are looking at this as a corrective wave, we are already 2.6 times longer than your wave 3 right over here, which is still very okay, right? As long as we stay below the 5 times, in timing, then we are still pretty much okay to still be in this corrective wave as a possible wave 4, and we are looking for a move to the upside. Now, what is interesting about this triangle, if we are detecting here this possibly being the end of your wave 3 and we are in wave 4, we're going to create one more wave to the upside, is that all of this structure that has been formed in the last few days from this pivot high has been formed by 3-wave structures. You can see here the rejection in a 3-wave move, a 3-wave move right over here to the upside, also a 3-wave move here to the downside, and now we have this little movement that we had yesterday in a 3-wave structure. Now the question is, of course, is this the low right over here, or could we be forming one more low? This is why if we do get this kind of price action to sweep this low, I like this level for a swing failure pattern. It also is the value area low from the entire trading range of the last few days. Value area low, point of control from this range, sweep up this low, maintain higher low support in this triangle to possibly complete your A, B, C, D, E. We form another 3-wave structure to finish and then look for a move to the upside. So I will be paying close attention here because this is actually a pretty good level, and you would be completing a 3-wave structure also to the downside. First move down yesterday, pump, and another move down Is it possible? Well, we're probably going to head up to the upside anyway from the current range. But if we do get that leg to the downside, this is a zone that I will be paying attention to create that swing failure pattern, understanding the triangle that can be in a fourth wave. This would be a running triangle where we have an A, B, C, D, and E formation before we get the move to the upside to test the highs. Major level, good interesting area for an SFP, maintain as support. It could be very interesting for a long position with your invalidation here below this low right over here at $92,800. So let's see how that could potentially play out. Of course, maybe the wave 4 is already in right over here and we are in the formation of the wave 5. We were talking about the possibility of a running flat where we have a zigzag move up to take the highs of your A wave, and also this movement that can be countered as a 5-wave move to the downside. You have a flat right over here. This wave 1, wave 2, 3, 4, and 5. There is a possibility to count this as a running flat, so you need to give it a chance. Now, why is there still high probability in taking out the highs? Well, first of all is taking out the 0.88 Fibonacci from the highs of Friday to the lows. We did hit the 0.88 Fibonacci retracement, and there is a meaning of hitting the 0.88 Fibonacci where it basically tells us that a wave 2 here to get an impulsive move to the downside decreases in probability, right? And what you're looking at here is the highs to be taken at some point, as we mentioned the last few days. However, we've been a little bit rangy and boring. Also, we did hit the 0.88 Fibonacci from this pivot high, okay, right over here. So for this to be a multiple 1-2 setup, 1, 2, 1 and 2, and should be breaking down in a third wave and then 4, 5, 4, 5, right? Basically getting that impulsive move down decreases in probability as you do hit the 0.88 right over here and also the 0.88 and your second 1, 2. So probabilities for a major breakdown here is highly unlikely. This is why coming down to revisit these lows right over here for this possible running triangle to finish your fourth wave, it's a very good swing failure pattern as you're coming down to the point of control and the value area low of this trading range of the last few days. Something very interesting to pay attention. Of course, the low might be in as explained right over here. A running flat is something that is very possible, not the most beautiful flats, of course, they are rare, but they can happen. And now you've already started your initial impulsive move to the upside right over here, where you're just forming your second wave 1 and 2, and then you're going to form your 3, 4, 5, right, and you're going to start breaking to the upside. Now, what I want to see before I get into any short position is look for a sign of weakness and have my wave 3 in. Inside of a wave, okay, in an impulse, if you're forming your wave 5, at some point you want to see a very strong move that you would like to label as your wave 3. So I want to see that pop to the upside at some point, right? Regardless if we do take out the lows or not, right? And see a big move. I want to see a big candlestick that I can label a wave 3. Once I have that wave 3, then I would be looking for the price to stop, and that would be the moment that I will be detecting that we are forming our 4 5s, right? When you get the explosive wave out and it stops and ranges, then I am interested to detect the 5th wave out of the larger possible 5th wave here to the upside, and then I'm interested in the short position, which the first target zone would be sweeping up the lows here at $92,000 range. Okay, so there could be a pretty interesting short position here, but first we need to see the breakout. A wave 3 can explode to the upside. Okay, the wave 3 can, maybe just continue and break, and then we form our 4 5s all the way up here at 98.99. We need to remain patient. The breakout can be explosive. It does not mean that this exact point of control of 24.25 is going to be the exact level where we're just going to reject from. We need to see exhaustion. We need to see our wave 3, and we need to see the development of the 4-5s to start thinking about a short position safely. Now, if we were to break down from here in this zone, it would be, a zone that I would be not interested in getting into a long position till I actually see a sign of strength. A swing failure pattern from these lows is definitely an option. We do have higher low support trend line, okay, from April. You've got the low right over here, higher low right over here. So if you were to come to sweep up the lows here of last week, which was on Thursday, we have an order block right over here. I'm still kind of liking that level. I like this swing failure pattern, as mentioned, with the value area low point of control of the range. Very interesting level, okay, to get one more dip. If that zone is broken and we do not swing failure pattern, then eventually the next level would be all the way down here, which are these lows of the entire range of the last few days. Swing failure pattern from this low, because we do have an order block here, which is this little consolidation that we had here from last Tuesday at the $91,000 range. So if we were to come down to this zone, I'm very much interested in a swing failure pattern, proof of support, ultimately still looking for another high. If we do not create a swing failure pattern from this level and we do break the higher low support trend line, I would not be interested in a long position. Only if we were to reclaim the lows right over here, I would be interested, because then I can manage risk with my stop loss beneath the low of the fake out. Now, if we were to break down, of course, I do not want to be catching any long positions. We do have a lot of inefficiency here, a big candlestick of round about $3,000. And I realize that if this order block does not hold, we could feel that inefficiency to come all the way down to our next major level of support, which would be $88,000, $87,000 range. Okay, so this area, I would not be interested till we see the price action stop and then analyze the next situation. But as mentioned, high probability to take out the highs. We need to analyze if we do get a solid breakout. Will it go to $97,000, $98,000, $99,000? We need that wave 3, and then we need our 4-5s, right? Then we can realize that the price action is stopping, and that is the moment that I will start to be interested in a short position. Legends, remember that you do have an insane bonus on weeks, your 20% deposit bonus. You just need an email and a password to sign up on weeks. You can get up to $2,000. If you deposit $10,000, wait for 3 days on your futures account, you will be getting that $2,000 airdrop and also 25% fee reduction using the second link down below in the description, guys. Thank you very much for joining today's video update, guys. Stay cautious. It does look like that those highs could be claimed at some point in between today and tomorrow, just because we are not seeing any signs of weakness and there's no big impulsive moves to the downside. Very three-wavy structure throughout the last few days, meaning that taking out the highs is very, very likely. Thank you, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.